The Yes Ladder. You're standing in line at a small dusty bookstore. Not the big commercial kind. This place smells like old pages and has a cat napping on top of a Nietzsche collection. Time feels slower here. You've been browsing the same book for 10 minutes, not reading, just watching. Watching the person behind the counter. You want to ask them something and it's not about where the poetry section is. You want to ask them out. But saying that out loud feels like diving into the deep end with no idea how far down it goes. So you start small. Hey, can I ask you something? They look up. Sure, that's the first yes. Here's the thing most people never realize. Once someone says yes to something low stakes, their brain starts building momentum. Yes becomes a rhythm, not magic, psychology, but it feels like magic. You worked here a while, right? Another smile, another yes. So you probably know most of the regulars. Yes again. You think this place attracts good people? A laugh. Yeah, definitely. Now it's easy. That last line, the real one, feels like it was always there. Would you want to grab coffee sometime? And when they say yes, it's not just about you. It's because you walk them there, step by step, like tapping the right buttons in the right order to unlock a hidden path. This is called the Yes Ladder. Each yes is a foothold, a primer, a psychological line of code that rewrites the conversation in your favor. Salespeople use it, politicians use it, cult leaders use it. Because once someone starts agreeing with you, it becomes harder to stop. The brain wants to stay consistent, and that consistency, it's a cheat code for persuasion. Dressing one level higher. You walk into a waiting room for an interview. White walls, flickering lights, blank plastic chairs. The guy at the front desk barely glances at you, just another name on the list. Until he sees your shoes. Polished. Intentional. Then his eyes rise. Blazer. Posture. The calm way you're standing. His attention snaps into place. You haven't said a word, but the system's already responding. You dress just one level above the minimum. Not flashy, not overdressed, just enough to break expectation. And that's all it takes. When you walk into the interview room, the panel straightens. The one who was scrolling puts his phone down. The one who looks bored perks up. They don't know why they suddenly trust you more, but they do. Because here's the glitch. Humans are still running on old firmware. Clothes equals confidence. Fit equals competence. Texture equals control. When you dress like someone with authority, the room treats you like one, even before you open your mouth. This isn't about fashion, it's about framing. You showed up with different armor, and their brains are just responding to the visual cue. You talk, answer questions, make your points, but the decision was already nudged before you said a thing. The power of pause. You're in the middle of a conversation, words bouncing back and forth like a game of ping pong. When someone throws a curveball, a sharp question, all eyes land on you. You feel the impulse to respond immediately. Prove you're quick, sharp, on your game. But instead, you pause. 2 seconds, no words, just silence. And in that pause, everything changes. Their eyes narrow. They shift slightly in their seat. Suddenly, you don't look nervous. You look calculating. Even if your brain is just stalling like a human loading screen, to them, you're thinking 10 moves ahead. This is called the cognitive pause bias. The brain assumes that people who pause before speaking are smarter, more in control, and about to say something important. It doesn't matter if you're choosing between chicken or tuna. If you pause, you project power. In conflict, it calms the room. In interviews, it builds gravitas. In negotiations, it makes you look untouchable. People expect instant answers. Reactive energy. The pause tells them, I'm not reacting, I am observing. So the next time you're put on the spot, don't rush. Let silence stretch for just a beat. Let it do what words can't. The mirror technique. You show up to a party you didn't plan to attend. Your friends said it'll be chill, but right now it's a room full of people laughing at stories you weren't part of. You spot a group near the couch. Relaxed, loud, totally locked in. You walk over, slowly. You don't barge in, you study. One guy leans in every time he speaks. Someone else flicks her wrist to make a point. Another ends every sentence with a question-like tone. So you start mirroring. Subtly. You shift your weight like they do. You talk with your left hand, because they do. Your voice rises and falls in sync with theirs. You don't say much, just enough to catch the rhythm. Then, without realizing it, they begin turning toward you, looping you in, laughing when you laugh. They don't know why they like you, but their brain does. Humans are tribal creatures. We trust those who reflect our behavior, move like us, sound like us. It signals safety, familiarity, connection. Mirroring isn't mind control, it's social camouflage, and it works. Salespeople use it, FBI negotiators use it, even politicians on stage mimic crowd energy. Because when done right, mirroring doesn't raise suspicion, it makes people feel seen. Use people's names. You walk into the elevator. Third floor, heading down. There's already someone inside. He's tall, tired, scrolling on his phone. You've seen him before, maybe in the hallway, maybe in the background of a meeting. Just familiar enough to be more than a stranger. He glances up briefly, makes eye contact, then goes back to the blue glow in his hand. Most people would nod politely, say nothing, and wait out the descent. But not you. You offer a slight smile. Hey Marcus, how's that pitch coming along? His screen dims. His eyebrows twitch. Something in his face unlocks. Oh, hey, yeah, it's going well. In that moment, the elevator stops being a box. You're no longer two strangers riding in silence. Now, you're someone. And more importantly, you remembered him. Here's what just happened. You used a cheat code. When you say someone's real name, not dude or man or bro, it cuts straight through the social fog. It hits the brain like a sonar ping, lights up regions tied to identity, memory, and trust. Even if the rest of the conversation fades away, that moment stays logged. This person noticed me. This person remembers me. It's not manipulation, it's recognition. You're not hacking their brain. You're just reminding it you exist. The confidence loop. You're standing in front of a door. Not just any door, the door. Clean metal, frosted glass, light spilling out underneath like it's holding something important. Behind it, your shot. The interview, the audition, the pitch. Your chest is tight, your stomach's doing cartwheels, your hands feel like they belong to someone else. Everything in your body says the same thing. Leave, walk away, say you got the time wrong, pretend it never happened. But instead, you roll your shoulders back, you plant your feet, you smile. Not a nervous smile, a practiced one. One that says, I know something you don't. And in that instant, something changes. We're taught confidence is something you either have or don't. A feeling, a light switch you're waiting to flip. But that's a lie. Confidence doesn't begin in your brain, it starts in your body. When you stand tall, slow your breathing, hold eye contact just a bit longer than what feels comfortable, your brain gets tricked. It sees the posture and goes, wait, if we're standing like this, we must be confident, right? So it rewires itself. Hormones shift. Focus sharpens. The anxiety loop breaks. You didn't wait to feel confident, you acted like it. And your brain followed. But the loop works both ways. Slouch, mumble, avoid eye contact, and your brain rewires the script in the opposite direction. Doubt, retreat, exit. The game was never about already being confident. It was always about convincing your own system you were. Stand like you're in control, and you will be. Speak like you belong, and you do. Smile like you've already won, and suddenly you have. The 5-to-1 ratio. It's late afternoon. You're in the kitchen. 2 mugs on the counter, yours and theirs. There's a plate in the sink again. You say something. Not mean, not loud, just a little tired. They answer flatly. A short response that leaves a silence hanging in the air. Just like that, something shifts. Not an explosion, just a small tear in the connection. A pixel flickering in the emotional interface. You've gone off ratio. Here's the hidden mechanic. Every relationship runs in a 5-to-1 balance. For every 1 negative interaction, you need 5 positive ones to stay in sync. An eye roll, a sigh, a correction muttered under your breath. That's a subtraction. But a laugh, a compliment, a cup of coffee made without asking? That's currency. Emotional deposits. Psychologist John Gottman spent decades studying couples, mapping out which ones thrived and which ones fell apart. The answer wasn't better communication, it was better repair. Not never fighting, just balancing it out. You look good in that meeting today. Thanks for picking that up. I missed you. Tiny comments, micro boosts, but over time, they add up to something real. Back in the kitchen, you didn't ask about their day. You corrected their story. You forgot to smile. Doesn't feel like much, until it does. 90-minute sleep cycles. It's midnight, you're done. No rituals, no herbal tea, just you, your pillow, and the dull glow of your phone screen fading out beside you. You crash. 6 hours later, the alarm hits like a hammer to the soul. You feel like you were dragged out of another dimension. You got 8 hours, so why does your brain feel like soup? Because you woke up mid-cycle. Sleep isn't just on or off, it runs in 90-minute loops. Light sleep, deep sleep, REM, repeat. If your alarm rips you out of the middle of a cycle, your brain's still inside the code. Your system's not ready. You're trying to run the game before it's loaded. But if you time your wake up to the end of a cycle, something magical happens. You snap awake, clear, focused, slightly suspicious of how good you feel. It's not about how long you sleep, it's about when you wake. Forget the standard 8 hours rule. Instead, think 6, 7.5, or 9 hours. That's 4, 5, or 6 full cycles. Complete loops, graceful exits. It's like saving your game before logging off. Wake up right and you reload fully charged.